Today on the Riff, Jeremy sits down with his daughters, both of them. They get to talk about what growing up looked like being a pastor's kid, what life looks like now, and who was one of the most impactful North Point staffers in their lives. Spoiler alert, it's Jody. It's always Jody. We hope today is helpful. Thanks for listening.
Hey, welcome to another episode of The Riff. This is one I have been looking forward to. If you are on video, boy, is it a treat. I understand why you normally would just audio with Justin and I, because I don't know that we are eye candy, as the kids say. Do the kids say that?
I'm not sure they do.
Okay. But I don't know if you would go out of your way to watch Justin and I. But today, I have got my daughters on this show. And so whether you are enjoying this podcast, it's a podcast, broadcast podcast, we call it a podcast, through your ears or your eyes, I want to introduce my daughters. So I'm going to start with the one that I love them the most, but to be honest, I've known you longer, Janaya.
All right.
So let me introduce Janaya, tied for my favorite daughter, but by default, known her longer. Janaya, tell us a little bit about who you are.
Well, I'm Janaya. I am 23. I graduated Southeastern as a creative writing major, and I work at Disney World.
That's so fun. Now, I don't know, are you legally allowed to tell us what you do at Disney World?
I can't really tell the specifics.
Can I guess? like, okay, I'm gonna, let me give a multiple choice.
Okay.
Can we do that?
Okay.
You work as the abdominal creature in the Matterhorn ride.
There is no Matterhorn ride at Walt Disney World.
There's no Matterhorn?
No.
Okay, well, you're just telling them that's probably not it. I know that. I know that. Don't challenge my Disney history.
Yeah.
B, you are Peter Pan. Or you have a crush on Peter Pan. C,
Guilty.
that's definitely true. C, maybe you're an attendant for Mickey and Minnie on Main Street Parade.
I make sure that Mickey and Minnie are safe.
Okay, we can say that. So that's Janaya, our oldest, and then hello, there's Sydney.
Hello.
Sydney Joy,
Yes.
our youngest child. Tell us a little bit about you.
So I'm Sydney. I'm 21 years old. I just graduated along with Janaya from Southeastern University this past spring, and now I'm working as a graduate assistant at Southeastern University, getting my master's in human services.
You are going to serve humans.
I guess so.
That is admirable. So very good. Okay, so you both live in Florida.
Yeah.
We do.
Okay, so I'll just say this. There's one out of the three of us that are so excited that we just improvise this whole conversation, and that would be me. The two of you, you're nervous about this. Why were you nervous? You're like, what are we going to talk about? I'm like, I can't tell you what we're going to talk about. It's called The Riff.
Yeah, so this may be a little bit shocking, but my dad can be a little unpredictable sometimes. So you just never know what's coming.
And so, okay, so have you found that to be true growing up? Like, Sydney, we'll get into Enneagram stuff. I know you girls are Enneagram fans. Okay, Sydney, have you ever felt like you had to get a little bit anxious because I might put you in an unpredictable position as you were growing up?
You know what? Yes, I would say that. I think we have, my dad has a very bold, strong, confident personality.
Thank you.
Yeah, it's great.
I'm putting that on my new
funny,
bio.
Life of the party. However, I am a little bit more reserved, so there would be times
Enneagram 1?
Yeah,
maybe?
Enneagram 1. I'm stick by the rules. He likes to break the rules. So
That's called a good combo.
yeah.
Especially in pickup lines not pickup lines like I'm going to give you a pickup line, but pickup lines like you're done with school for the day.
Yeah.
But
That's where you were going.
Yeah.
Yeah, so like one time I remember in third grade, my dad came to pick us up from school and he was blasting music and he had like an ape mask on. And as my third grade self, I was like mortified. I was like, people are going to think like that my dad's crazy and yeah.
But I'm
like
not,
that.
right? I'm not. I'm totally not.
Yeah.
So Okay, so we're going to talk about so today. So you guys don't have a clue what I'm going to ask today. So here's what I want to do. I want to talk about you live in Florida. So you lived in 3 major parts of the United States. You lived in the Northwest. Janaya, how old were you when we moved out here? Do you remember?
I was 12.
Okay, 12 years old. Sydney 10. Then you from the Seattle area. So then you moved to Springfield, Missouri. And for the last 4 or 5 years, y'all lived in Florida. And now that you're out of college, obviously getting your master's still, Sydney, but you're starting this next season, you're still in Florida. So tell us a little bit about highs and lows of each area. Anything you think of?
Okay. Well,
Let's start with Washington. What do you remember about Washington? What's a high about living in Washington?
Okay. Well, the high for me specifically was childhood. Our neighborhood was amazing. Shout out to the Berkeley clan.
Yeah, Berkeley clan.
I love the street tacos there. Amazing.
Oh, yeah.
Evergreens everywhere. We were there, not to flex, but we were there when Twilight series was just getting on. And also, what was the show that you like? The
Grey's Anatomy.
Grey's Anatomy.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's pretty cool.
That's kind of fun. So little Forks, Washington was not too far drive from where we were living. So very good. Sydney, anything else about the Washington life? What was memorable about that?
I love the scenery, but I also we have a lot of family out there. So getting to visit family is always fun.
Rains a lot there.
It does rain a lot. Yeah.
A lot of traffic.
Yeah.
So some downsides. Okay, so I remember we have a hot tub, and I think we got our hot tub at Costco. I don't know. Anyway, so it was one of our best purchases ever. I've tried to talk everyone to get in the hot tub. It's just a great time to think. And for us, we would sit in the hot tub as a family, and that's when we do like wild, crazy conversations. Like, okay, what could be next? What are you dreaming? What are you thinking? What's going on in life? It's been great conversations. I remember sitting in a hot tub in Washington with a family when we started engaging the whole family on this conversation about moving to Springfield, Missouri. What do you remember about moving to Missouri?
Well, I remember it was not the Little House aspect of the Midwest that I was
Meaning Little House on the Prairie. You were a big fan.
Prairie. Huge fan.
When we say you were a big fan, explain what that meant. Like you had an outfit, half pint. Didn't you have an outfit you would wear in a public? Like on non-Halloween days?
I had a friend who was hugely inspired by Little House on the Prairie, and we would carry our lunch pails and
Yes, you would.
And dress up in Little House fashion. But I was expecting the Midwest to be like just this 1850s, 1890s type of style. I don't know why, but that was just in my head.
Well, Silver Dollar City, we do play a competition. Outfit or everyday life? It's hard to guess. You go too far outside of Springfield, and I honestly think you'd fit in with that.
Yeah,
Giddy up.
sometimes it's both. I mean, I definitely remember wearing that prairie costume there. Yeah, for sure.
But we didn't even know they had a mall in Springfield. We were pretty excited. So, Sydney, what do you remember about Missouri?
Yeah, I was getting into my country girl little era, and it was the time where Hannah Montana was a big deal. So I loved like all of the movies about her on the farm with her family. So I thought I was moving to the farm. And I was ready.
Okay, this is weird about Hannah Montana. If you close your eyes and you listen to her talk, she sounds like Miley Cyrus.
That's crazy.
Yeah, totally. Keep going. Sorry for interrupting.
Yeah, so I was excited about the Midwestern life. Didn't know that there was a mall. I thought it was just like one school. Dirt roads. Wasn't even sure what that was going to look like, but ready for it. Yeah.
And so then you graduate. You were Glendale Falcons, go Falcons, and then you go to Southeastern. Why Southeastern? We've got schools we've got like 4 schools in Springfield. Why'd you have to go to Southeastern?
Well, okay,
let's just talk about that.
Evangelism is great, and I think it's a sister school to Southeastern. But I think what was special about it was the location. You're right close to. For me, the draw was Disney was right by you. So was the beach for Sydney, and we knew the director there, and it was just a great place that we kind of got to see as we went to Orlando, kind of grow into an awesome school.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's great.
Yeah, I think location had a big draw for me.
Big draw.
Yeah. And I could see that. I mean, you got palm trees, and you got Disney, you got beach, you got sun. Those aren't bad.
No.
So I get it. Okay, so let's talk about all sorts of things. I'm just going to throw some things out. You guys ready? Okay, so talk about Enneagram. Okay, so tell us a little bit about your Enneagram profile and what you've learned about that. So let's start with Sydney this time.
All right. So I'm an Enneagram 1. That's the perfectionist or the reformer. And I think I learned that when I took a test when I was 16. So I was in high school. And I'm looking back, I'm super thankful that I learned about it back then, because I feel like I've been able to recognize a lot of parts of my personality that I don't love, and also see some of my strengths. And so over the past few years, I've been just trying to develop both of those. But with the other members of my family, I'd say we have several differences, especially with the 2 family members sitting with me right now.
Hey, that's us.
Yeah. So it's been fun kind of navigating what that looks like when
Now,
we
sometimes
have
people
conflict.
say, when they say it's been fun navigating, that's code for I haven't enjoyed the journey. So which one is that?
A little bit of both.
Okay,
It's been challenging, but also fun. So yeah, I think just with Janaya, we're very opposite sisters, but I wouldn't trade it for the world. And then also parents.
Which, by the way, if you haven't checked out the relationship thing on the Enneagram, it says that we're oil and water, but we love each other.
Ooh.
Yeah, so Janaya's a 1 or a 4. I'm a 1. Just about as opposite as they can get.
Okay, so talk about kind of the type of thing, human services. Probably how has your Enneagram even helped direct kind of what you want to do with your life?
Yeah, so part of the 1 is making the world a better place, because you want to be good. You want to be good yourself, and you want to help others be good. You want to bring justice to the world. So one of my specialization with my degree is in children and family services. So I just have I really want to see families, and specifically kids, who maybe grew up and they didn't come from the best, they don't have the best resources to set them up for success. Okay. So I want to come alongside those kids and just let them know, hey, we can work together. You have people cheering you on, and I want to see you have a great future. So,
and what are some things that you're currently doing down there that kind of inspire you to do that kind of stuff? Talk to us a little bit about the kids club.
Yeah, so I've been doing kids club with the Lakeland Dream Center for the last 4 years now, and so that's been super cool.
Which is so cool. They have a dream center.
I know.
Down in Lakeland.
I know. So yeah, I was super excited when I found that out, but I immediately started serving there when I became a freshman. So I've gotten to know these kids, and some of the kids that were learning to walk when I was there are now running around doing flips, cartwheels, all over the neighborhood. But we basically get to go once a week. We pull it's like a neon truck out to the neighborhood
with scary cartoons painted on the... I wouldn't say that's their key for success, but
yeah. But we have these kind of ugly green shirts, but it's like Pied Piper. As soon as we go out to the neighborhood, we blast our music, and kids just come out to hang out with us, and we get to talk about Jesus and just build relationships with them in small groups. And it's been super fun to see them grow and learn more and ask questions about God.
That's awesome. Okay, so very fun. Janaya, Enneagram 4. Tell us a little bit about the Enneagram 4 and how this has impacted your life.
Yeah, so I like to say I was born a 4. I came out very different from the world and around me. But basically, the 4 is the creative outlet. The individualist is driven by the right side of the brain. So everything creative drives me. If it seems like I'm working in a very confined workspace, it drains me, and I'm totally fine being on my own doing whatever. But yeah, I don't know. It's just a very the strive is to always be different, always be unique.
Yeah. So walk me through growing up. You've always been, and most kids are, but you've been really captured by the idea of Disney. How do you think that 4 impacted that? And how has it shaped what you're currently doing now?
Oh my goodness. Yeah. So at a very young age, I always have these very, I don't know, idealistic views of reality. And Disney kind of fits the mold for that. It has the very perfect, happy ever after kind of fantasy life that, like, for me, I just kind of fed on. And that was like, it was always a very safe space. So no matter where I was at in life, whether it was just a new move or, anything, a constant would be that there's hope throughout anything, whether that be in fairy tales like Snow White or in later stuff like Once Upon a Time, there would always be that source of there is hope. And I don't know, I always found that interesting. So just as I grew up, holding on to those fantasies and those idealized versions of life was so important to me, even if they don't always turn out the way that I expected. Disney is still that safe space for me.
So tell me a little bit about while you were training to get into Disney. Yeah. One of the questions they asked is your favorite character. Tell us a little bit about that because I think it's so you.
Yeah. Oh, goodness. So my favorite characters are both Peter Pan and Quasimodo. But I said Quasimodo. I didn't think a lot of people would. I know in 2012, there's a whole bunch of Tumblr girls that were obsessed with Peter Pan. I don't identify with that. Just some pretty crazy stuff going on. But Quasimodo.
I have nowhere to go with that, but I'm just going to leave that. So keep going with the Quasimodo part.
The people who know, no.
Honestly, Tumblr girls, you can back off right now.
Yeah.
And I don't even care if you stop following Tumblr girls.
But yeah.
So Quasimodo. Why did that speak to you?
Yeah. So Quasimodo is the name. The name translates into half-formed. And so as a kid, I didn't really know what physically was different about me from others and what separated me from the regular world. And so seeing someone who kind of identified with that similar struggle of wanting to be a part of the world but not really sure how to do it with its differences was so unique and so interesting, especially to see even the villain as someone who's a pastor or like Judge Claude Frodo. It's insane. Like I don't necessarily advocate that all pastors are that way, but it's so interesting.
Okay. That was going to be a follow-up question I had.
Yeah, no, but it was so interesting to see that people are human and they all make mistakes, and some people just don't see differences as uniqueness the way that you can view them. Some of them see it as a weakness and something to be afraid of. And it's just, I know it was something I identified with as like, if I grew up in that time, it wouldn't have gone well. And I'm so grateful for living in a world with, medication and all the things to help me and a more accepting world.
Well, what I love about that is just the idea of, for you found this idolized sense of hope in a story, and even with Disney to be able to share that for people in all sorts of settings. So love it, love it, love it. Super proud of you girls. I've got some questions I'm going to dive in, okay? I want to talk about what is it. One, let's just start with North Point, okay? Because we have a lot of people who are listening here that they may not know you if they didn't grow up going to Springfield campus specifically. What's something about North Point that you've had a chance to see other churches, other locations, and now North Point can't be your in-person home campus anymore? No. What's something that you really find unique that you value about North Point?
Do you want to? I'll go for it.
Go for it.
So one thing that I love about North Point, and I think it's been here since the start, like this was existing in the church before we got here, and it's just been like the heartbeat of North Point is the way that we do give back in the communities and serve. And I just think that that's so important because that's taking like what we're talking about in the services and going outside the walls of the church, which I think is essentially the whole point. Yeah. Just being able to, I love the reputation that North Point has in the community. I'm proud to talk about it when I meet someone. So, yeah.
And that's something that was new for us when we came. That was in the season of Second Saturdays, which is great. And how we've expressed outside the walls has changed in programming as the church has grown and time has gone on. But that Second Saturdays, at first, I was fascinated why they would do this. But to see how many volunteers would show up and the impact it makes. I love that. And Janaya, what about you? Anything that you think of that, like, man, this is a unique value of North Point?
Oh my goodness!
Besides the pastor.
Well, yeah, Sydney took the words out of my mouth, but truly, this location and all of its, all of the locations at North Point have such a unique community, and I think it's so important that all these groups of people, different ages and different stages in life, are able to come together. And oftentimes I went church hopping a lot, where I was at. And as a pastor's kid, I don't know, pastor's kid out there, you can relate, but no one's ever going to be like your dad. So it's very difficult to find something that you're looking for specifically. And one of those things was community. So finding those groups to be connected to, finding the people that are, really your accountability partner through your journey in Christ.
Yeah. Okay, so I want to talk about pastors' kids. Okay. And I know not everyone's a pastor's kid, but I think it'd be kind of fun. What was it like? What are some of the unique challenges or experiences being a pastor's kid?
So I remember, this always stands out to me when I think about being a pastor's kid. My very first semester, freshman year at Southeastern.
Miss Smith.
Southeastern University. That was 6th grade.
Oh,
Hills.
that's right. Okay, I'll let you tell your story. I'm sorry.
Okay.
I got excited about the story I was thinking.
I was sitting in Old Testament. Dr. Roth, you had him.
Oh, yes, sir. Yes, sir.
So we were sitting in Old Testament, and we were doing some sort of partner activity, and I was sitting next to a football player, and we were talking about, I don't know, I think part of our upbringings, and he said, "Oh, you're a pastor's kid," and I was like, "Yeah." And he was like, "Okay, so that means you're either super psycho or you're super sheltered. Which one are you?" And I was frozen. I was like, "Can I be in the middle? I don't know." So that one always comes to my mind.
That's funny.
I'd like to say Janaya and I are kind of a mix of both. We might be a little psycho, a little sheltered.
Yeah.
But
yeah.
Yeah.
That's good. We don't need to guess which part came from which parent.
Yeah. So, no, it's okay. Yeah.
So, Janaya, anything that jumps out to you? Pastor's kid, what experience or what's that like?
Oh my goodness. It's a different world. I love it. I love every part of it. I think it has unique challenges, but overall it's a gift for sure.
Well, come on. Okay, let me ask the question. Let me ask some question.
Okay.
Did you feel growing up more of a pressure because of North Point and what I did?
Oh, 100%. I mean, I think that's it's a natural thing to have that type of pressure when you're representing not only your dad, but God, and like,
in some people's mind, that is God. You represent God.
Right. I know the frustrating thing in high school was finding friends that didn't completely shelter me like I was a baby child.
Watch your ears because that's a pastor's kid.
Right, yes. Right. They would hide different things from me, and they would be like, "Oh, Janaya, not for you."
And you're like, I want to see.
Right. No. But in the same
I've had that too.
It's just that culture shock of they think either I or you, in a sense, are holier than thou, and that whatever
and I kind of
say,
am, right? Well, okay. Well, that's a different episode.
Yeah. We love you. But yeah. So it's one of those things where it's kind of difficult because you're put in this position where they think that you're going to tattle on the pastor.
It's like if they tell us something, we're going to tell our dad, and our dad's going to tell God. So may as well keep it away from us because we don't want to risk God finding out.
I promise not to tell God all the stuff. Here's the deal. It could be between us. So.
Oh my goodness. Yeah. No.
So okay. So talk to me about your own faith journey. And I know this isn't just a pastor's kid thing, but probably a lot of people who grew up with a church expectations set for them by their upbringing.
Yeah.
Okay. When did that become personal for you?
This is something that I've thought about a lot recently, because I think it is interesting because I hear people talk about their stories and they're like, oh, I wasn't living for God. And then I had this crazy experience in high school. And now like I've dedicated my life to him. And I'm like, that's so cool. And sometimes I wish I was like, man, I don't ever remember God not being a central piece in my life, which is a blessing. I'm super thankful for that. But it does, I think, shape your perspective on certain things because you're like, wait, how come I didn't have a crazy like story to tell people? Like, what are people gonna know like when I want to talk about Jesus? So I think some of the things that like I grew up and it became routine for me. Like you think when you go off to college, it's a lot about learning independence. That's what I think a lot of people talk about the college experiences is going from dependence and your family to then becoming independent. And I feel like it was a little bit flipped in a way where I was very independent in high school and I was like, I know my routines. I know like what I need to do in the church. I know how to like get good grades, how to be a good daughter for my parents. And then I started college and it was like, okay, I've lost a sense of dependence on God. So like finding like, why do I go to church? Why do I pray? Why do I do all this stuff? I kind of had to step back and it was like I was growing, but in a different way. Like I was becoming more dependent and less independent in my own way.
I like that. That's good. Very good. Janaya, what about you? How did this become a personal thing, or is there a time when it did that you think of, or how have you made this not your dad's thing?
Yeah, that's it. Again, like Sydney said, it's difficult because it's so easy to rely on your parents' faith, especially in our position to the point where that's our weekly lives of going to church, doing things. We would have one service where we'd attend and one service where we would serve, and that was so normal. And getting that routine was awesome because you meet so many people, but it wasn't necessarily of our own will. We didn't have cars. It was not to say it wasn't
hostages for Jesus. For Jesus.
No, I don't mean it that way. But in the sense of it was so normal that again, like,
and it was expected. We did expect you for those seasons.
Yeah, and I think it was one of those things. Again, like Sydney said, it just taking that independence factor of going on your own. Nobody's telling you to go to church on Sundays. Nobody's dragging you out of bed. Not saying y'all do, but nobody's like making you make those important choices that overall it really either strengthens or weakens your faith. And I think just finding those resources, like finding that reason to wake up at 7 a.m, even to go to an 8:30 service on a Sunday, just getting in that rhythm again was so important. And again, it's weird because I almost got envious of all the people that had all those amazing stories about coming to faith, because I'm like, I never had that experience of like immediate, like, oh my goodness, that was awful. Life was a mess, and all of a sudden Jesus came, but God, right? Those but God moments, and God has always been there, always been very prevalent. And with the certain disorders and stroke and seizures that I've had, it's always been a constant reminder, but God has always been there.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
That's awesome. Okay. I know you've also both had some very meaningful friendships. So I got 2 questions left. One, I want to talk about whether it was a roommate, whether it's someone you've met in this last season of your life. What role does community have for you? I mean, talk to us a little bit about that.
Yeah, I think community is such a valuable piece in my life because my friends bring so much joy. So finding the right people that you can be just your complete self with is super important. And I've found that through college was a great experience to meet people and just find the people that you click with. Mm-hmm. And having that alongside, I think your family is so great, and I'm super thankful we are super close as a family, but then to have other people outside of that who you can vent about when your family, like when your sister does something that annoys you. I can laugh about it with my friend.
I
Not
feel
saying that we
attacked
do
a
that.
little bit
But
right now.
yeah, but just to have people that keep life uplifting and can remind you that it's fun, and yeah.
Yeah. Good.
Yeah.
What about let me land with this. Is there a current volunteer or current staff member of North Point that helped shape you on your journey that you want to give a quick shout out to? Go ahead.
Well, first of all, Justin is
and our
incredible.
production
Our
team.
production team is incredible.
Yeah, Justin's great.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
I'd like to shout out, I love Jody Dow.
I was gonna say the same
Yeah,
thing.
I think
Dow's amazing.
Jody Dow has been super.
Tell us this time one of the first stories about Jody Dow, girls.
Oh my goodness.
It was relating
Okay.
to Justin Bieber.
okay.
I'll start it, you take it. Because here's the deal. I do like to flip stuff. Okay, not tables like Jesus, but like baseball cards and
Yeah,
tickets.
he does a little flipping.
And so in Seattle, I had bought a ton of Justin Bieber tickets. The girls were believers, and so was I.
You were one
I was.
He was actually the first
I wanted to be
Johnson
one of the one less
was a
lonely
believer.
girl club, but
had a Bieber fever.
I bought a ton of Bieber tickets. Right before we moved to Missouri, I had sold them all, but I had kept a couple for you girls to take you to the concert. But then we moved and I couldn't take you to the concert. So I said, when we get to Missouri, he's coming to Kansas City. I'll get you tickets.
Yeah.
So pick it up from there.
Yeah, so we got tickets to, he said that we were going to get tickets to Justin Bieber. He had it organized. Jody picked us up from school at Hickory Hills.
We had meetings. We had meetings.
Like they were still trying to figure out what on earth was happening even when we got there.
I didn't technically have the tickets
Yeah,
yet.
so
No.
he said we were going to have tickets.
We thought
he
they were
was on the
VIP.
phone with someone to set up tickets.
Yeah.
So the whole time,
I just gave Jody a wad of cash and said, I will give you contact information to get tickets when you get up to Kansas
Right.
City later tonight.
right, and then about halfway through the drive, you call us and say, we got VIP tickets. And we were freaking out.
Oh my
I'm an
goodness.
optimist. I thought that they were.
Yeah, we were so excited. We were like, we're going to meet his mom, Patty. We're going to meet all his friends.
You know
Like,
his mom's name. That's
Yeah, like you don't. Come on now.
You've seen the documentary?
You've already wrote in cursive Janaya Bieber. I know you
I
had.
have not.
Oh, come on. Okay, so I set up tickets.
So we get up to...
Jody's got cash and two girls she barely knows. She's a
Yeah.
youth pastor
Oh, my
in
goodness.
Kansas City.
Yeah.
Where do you
Yeah.
go to pick up the tickets?
Well, where anyone would go, the bar.
Yes.
So Jody had to go into a bar. And
For some strange guy.
She had to leave us on the street in Kansas City.
But that's where she met Chuck Dow.
not
No.
true.
Oh, that's not the
please
story?
do not
Okay,
believe that.
okay,
Do not believe
okay.
that.
But you got your tickets.
Yeah, so...
You saw
it ended
Justin
up
Bieber
being
together.
safe. We saw Justin Bieber. We all got matching shirts.
And now Jody is a hero in your life.
Yes.
Oh,
Okay.
totally. Another memory of her was she took us without really even knowing us then to SDC.
Silver Dollar City, for
Yeah.
those of you who are in our
Yeah.
Belgium?
Spain area and Belgium areas.
Yeah. So she took us with another staff member to SDC. Time of our lives. Did not let us on to the fact that we were going on the scariest ride first. And we went on. I don't know. It was so wonderful. It definitely felt like.
Was it the train ride and you thought you were really getting robbed?
No,
was that the scary ride?
It was the big swing, and they were thinking. I was thinking it was
Barnyard
going to be
swing.
like a little just like a regular play swing. I'm like,
Oh no,
okay.
it's a thing.
I didn't know what to expect of Missouri at that point. I really didn't know what we were going into. That was the most exhilarating, amazing time of my life, though. Freaking out to the point where I had tears streaming down my face. It was amazing.
Yeah, it also could be you go such a high pace with cold wind into your eyes. Sometimes I felt that too. I'm like, oh my word, was that walk from
don't
Gailey's
know.
to my car the most exhilarating time of my life? Nope, it's the cold wind. That's it.
Let the force decide. The force, yeah.
Okay, girls. Thrilled to have you have this conversation with us. And I know I speak on behalf of every listener. They are thankful for it as well. One day, I'm going to live in Florida with you. I'll probably have a walker and brand new tennis balls on my walker. But I will retire with palm trees. But
good.
in the meantime, thanks for plugging in. Thanks for serving, and thanks for being a guest on the Riff. So, Riff listeners, hope you're having a great time listening, and we'll get back to you with a new episode soon. But but tell your friends about this one because this one's a good one.
Oh, yeah.
See ya.
Thanks for listening to this episode of The Riff. We'll have a brand new episode every week, wherever you find podcasts.